Welcome back to another week of Instigating with Clarkey and Drury, and we're very pleased to be joined by our friend, great friend of the show. We love to pick this guy's brain, and we usually do it when the Leafs are not doing well. Playoff loss, losing streak, and we thought, you know what? We're coming up on the holiday season here, and in the spirit of positivity, in the spirit of giving, we thought, let's have him on in the midst of the Leafs playing very, very well, amidst some very big challenges too. Ladies and gentlemen, longtime coach, Sutherland Cup winner, multiple Cherry Cup winner, Jason Brooks is on the show. Brooksy, how are you, brother?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on again.
We love having you on, and hey, we thought we'd do you solid here because we have you on and we get you to pick apart what went wrong with the Leafs quite often. There's a lot going right. Now, I know we're doing this right after a tough loss to Florida, but I mean, what do you want? Like, this lineup is ravaged with injuries. They almost got no guys left, no warm bodies to play forward, no Austin Matthews still, and they have been on a 7-2 run in their last 11 games despite all these lineup challenges. What is working so well for them right now, Brooksy, in your estimation? Are they doing anything different, or have they changed up something and it's working?
Well, I think it goes right to the start with Craig Berube and the style of play and the attention to detail defensively. I think that's a start. I think we can throw a few props to Treliving for bringing in the decor that he's done. I think definitely helping solidify that in some way has definitely helped them as well. And they've had great goaltending. I mean, Stolarz has been unbelievable. Wool's come back and has played extremely well. You know, once he got his feet under him after the injury, he's kind of looked more like himself. But going back on Berube, like, I mean, how many conversations, guys, do we have about, Sheldon Keefe and the style of play? And I would say Berube's style, he's trying to get them playoff ready already in the first quarter of the season to play a certain style, and I believe they bought in and they're seeing the rewards from it.
So what have you seen that they're doing differently?
I would just say puck management first and foremost. They're not making the high-risk plays as often. They're playing a more north-south game instead of an east-west game. I think they're doing a legitimate job of trying to be more physical, engaging physically. You could throw out the tougher team aspect, but I think it's just being more aggressive, being harder on pucks, harder in battles, and not trying to carry pucks in all the time and make that cute extra move. I just think they've simplified, and it's funny when you've got as much talent as they do, you can still produce being simple.
So on that note, and I'm glad that you used some of the terminology you did there, and Clarkey knows exactly where I'm going, and I think you probably do too, Brooksy. The simple stuff, not getting too cute, just playing hard. Mitch Marner is right in the center of that, and this guy comes under fire every year, and I understand why. There's attempts to make that cute play sometimes in a playoff series. In game 6 and 7, he gets pushed out and doesn't make an impact. Right now, I don't know that I've ever seen him play all around. We've seen him on streaks where he's put up more points, sure. I don't know that I've seen him play better ever in this last month and a half, I would say, than he is right now, Brooksy. What's your thought on that?
I agree. I think he's playing fantastic. Mitch has got a lot at stake right now, right? He's up for a new contract and wants all the dollars that he thinks he deserves. That Four Nations tournament, I think, is a big part of it as well. Like, to show the Canadian brass he's a 200-foot player. He can do the little things. He can make simple plays, right? Like, I think it's a big deal for him to make that team and not only make it, but be an impact guy on it and be put in situations that are important, whether it's on the power play, which you can debate whether he's going to be on that unit or not, or he's going to be a top end penalty killer for them. Is he going to play with a guy like McDavid? Like, you throw around different things. I think there's a lot at stake here for him, and I think he's playing, as you said, he's playing phenomenal. I'm his biggest critic. I think when I'm on your show, I throw darts at him quite a bit.
You and me both.
But honestly, like I've been really impressed. Like I get into arguments with my father all the time, and he loves Mitch, and I battling with him about Mitch, and I'm eating crow right now. He's doing all the things that you hoped he would have done, in the past. But the past is the past, and maybe it has taken a guy like Berube to come in and work with them and to say, hey, if you do these things, you're still gonna, put up your numbers, but you're gonna help us win and potentially move on in the playoffs, and that's what everybody wants.
Do you think he could carry it over to playoffs?
That's to be determined. I mean,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're seeing him play differently.
He has to.
Well, he does
Right?
have to.
I mean, he has to, and that's what I was going to ask you, Clarkey, on the wraparound of that.
Yeah.
Like, how nervous are you guys that this is just because it's a contract year, and that we're going to see a game 5, 6, maybe 7 in the first or second round against a Tampa, Florida, geez, right now maybe even a Buffalo, and he's going to disappear and not be able to do anything impactful on the score sheet, and the Leafs are going to lose 2-1. Like, how nervous are you about that, Clarkey? Because
how nervous do you think I am, Ryan?
I don't know. You're turning a little red, so I don't know.
I'm nervous all the time when watching the playoffs in particular. But Brooksy, do you? This is where Ryan and I differ. Ryan thinks they're going to hand him a contract any day. I don't. I do not think that this guy's going to get a contract till the season's over. What do you think?
I don't know, honestly. I really don't. I'm kind of torn because I would have thought, Clarkey, I would have agreed with you 100% that we're going to wait to see.
Mm-hmm.
But, when you see Matthews out of the lineup and you see the pieces that have been out of the lineup and you see what he's been doing with his game.
But we've seen that before in the regular season, Brooksy.
I know, but I mean, Clarkey, again, I'm as guilty of this as anybody for bashing Mitch Marner in the playoffs, but he's only one player. And it's not like the rest of the lineup has been this great juggernaut in the playoffs, and Mitch has just kind of rode the coattails. I mean, they've all been kind of smelly. I think the big thing would be a guy like Berube talking to Treliving saying, look at this guy's either everything we want more. And, I know Berube's on a lifespan as a coach, right? So they got to look at that. But ultimately, it's going to come down to numbers and term. And what does that mean in the grand scheme for the Leafs moving forward? William Nylander did the same thing last year. Right? Contract year comes flying out of the gates,
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, he's inked to a pretty substantial deal.
Mm-hmm.
The question I ask you, Clarkey, if we don't have Mitch Marner, who's replacing him and who's going to be the potential difference maker that he's, ultimately been and he's continuing to show now. Now, playoff time, and hopefully the team constructed along with him is better. Hopefully, Ruby's style of play allows for more success out of the group. I mean, that's what you're hoping for. But I was going to say to you guys, I'm cautiously optimistic. But I use cautiously because fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you kind of thing, right? Like,
yeah, how many times has it been now, though? Like, that's the problem. That's the problem I have.
Yeah,
hey, who could replace this guy? In my mind, another $10 million player who's probably pretty good and hopefully one that has playoff success. That's what I would like to see replace him if he's not around. That's why I've said to Ryan all along, if they let this guy go, if he doesn't want to sign in by the team terms, go get another player.
The only reason that I still hold steadfast to that they're going to give him a deal at some point, probably like maybe for Christmas, is because Brendan Shanahan's still there. And Brendan Shanahan is still, by all accounts,
no doubt,
running the ship.
No doubt. I agree with you there.
He loves Mitch more than
Well,
anybody in the city.
I'm
So
gonna-
that's my whole thing there.
I don't
I'm
know.
gonna argue a little bit, guys. Sorry to jump in, but isn't Keith Pelly involved in this now?
Yep.
Yeah, he's the
Sure is.
president of MLSE now,
Sure is.
who Shanahan is under, and
Yeah.
Shanahan's in the last year of his deal. So that's true. He is still there though.
No, I agree with that. But when you've got somebody in power above,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's looking at what Brendan has done this year with bringing in Berube and Treliving now again, right? Like you're looking at these building blocks he's put in place, and he's trying to see change, right? With regards to that contract, I'm going to guess it's not just going to be Brendan saying to Treliving, "Here, offer him X." You know what I mean? I think it's going to come from the top if it's coming from anybody. And I think Keith Pelly's going to have a say in this.
Oh, for sure he will. And that's a great point. Absolutely.
I think so too. And to jump off this and also quick sidebar, like we brought up William Nylander, like let's give him his flowers. Like he's been really good, especially during this stretch where he's been playing with like Nick Robertson and Pontus Holmberg or whatever. Like
no, you're absolutely right.
Him and Mitch are driving their lines. They are doing it, but that whole thing with the Leaf thing is, like you said, Clarkey, they're playing unbelievable. It looks so good. It's November. So that's the whole thing. But the rest of the lineup, I'm glad you brought that up when we were talking about Mitch, Brooksy, because let's touch on that. And I have a feeling we're gonna have a discussion about this later too. But this decor, like what an improvement here, and particularly this shutdown pair, like Oliver Ekman-Larsson, he's been unreal, 1,000-game player, he's a stud, but this shutdown pair of McCabe and Tanev. Look, when you won your trophies with the Cyclones, like I look at a guy like Jake McCabe and I think back to your winning team, and there was a kid that played for you named Brendan Clayton, and he was just a no-nonsense absolute SOB to play against. And if you had your head down coming over the line, he would flatline you. Jake McCabe is kind of the Brendan Clayton, shout out to Clates, I know you watch, of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, what do you think of this pair? Because, like, when you look at everything, the eye test, the old school measures, the statistics, the advanced analytics, this pair is unbelievable right now, Brooksy.
I would say that pair works because Tanev allows McCabe to be that aggressive bomber like Clates was. You're a beautiful out of Clates. Tanev is the conscience of that pair, right? He's a simple, solid player. He makes, again, 9 times out of 10, he's making the right decision, solid plays with the puck. Without the puck, he's a warrior. Both block shots, both pay price, right? Like they're both physical. But I think that allows McCabe to be a little more free. No disrespect to Simone Benoit, but he's not Tanev, right? So if McCabe went out of his way to hit somebody and took himself out of the play, you're putting a lot on a guy like Benoit, where now Tanev, who's, that warrior and that solid rock defenseman that they so badly coveted, is now bringing them, what they wanted to fruition, basically, right? Like he's doing everything they could ask and more.
Absolutely. I want to ask you as well, because there's another guy, and there was rumors floating around today that Pat Brisson was seen in town with him, and that's former Leafs captain, still on the team, still part of the leadership core, John Tavares. And he's the other big chip here that has an expiring contract. And I made some people upset recently on this show. Clarkey, you were one of them, but in particular, our buddy who was on the show, longtime CHL official Steve Papp out west. And Papper, I know you watched the show too, and I just wanted to acknowledge your feelings about what I said about John Tavares. I had the take, Brooksy, that I just feel like there's really no circumstance, in my opinion, where if I'm the Leafs, I bring this guy back. He's going to be 35. I don't feel like it's going to get better. And I feel like giving him any sort of term, 3-4 years, at millions of dollars when they've already just given him 77 million with no success. I just don't know why signing a 35-year-old for 5 or 6 million over 3 years is a better move than going and getting a 28 or 29-year-old for about the same or a little more going forward. What is your opinion on that? I love John Tavares, by the way. I just don't feel like people act like the Leafs owe him something, and they don't.
I listen, I'm with you. It's kind of going back to our Mitch Marner discussion a little bit, right? Like it's what are we going to get long term? Like again, this stretch has been wonderful. He's been a warrior, he's been everything else. But in the summertime, what were we talking to bring John Tavares back? We wanted him on the minimum. Wanted a $1 million year-to-year contract, and if he worked to your third line, great. If he ended up as your fourth line center, you were probably ecstatic, right? I have a hard time paying them the money they're talking about. I mean, mind you, I heard a comparable today that he's putting numbers up and he's in the same age range as like Antti Kopitar. He's in the same age range as Kadri. And what's Kadri got? 7 years now at 7.5 or whatever it is, right? Like, am I close on that?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Are the Leafs willing to do that, like you say, with a 35-year-old? Like, no shot. I think it depends, like, for Tavares is if you want to do an extension, if you can lock him in at something low, like lower, maybe then you give him a little more term and say, John, out of respect for you, I'm going to eat 4 million, for example, down the line because it's you, John. I just can't see him getting 7 million or more, right? Like, I think that's crazy. But that was the numbers I heard today, and I was kind of like,
not a chance.
That's pretty deep.
And yeah, and I see like the banter, and I get like, look, I don't hate John Tavares.
I think he's been a stud. Like these last 7 or 9 games or whatever, he's been a stud.
I don't disagree.
He's playing really well, and okay, I wouldn't sign him for not a penny more than 2.5.
And that's where the difficulty will be, because like he's playing way better right now than a $2.5 million player. And that's the other thing. I'm looking at it and going,
better than David Kampf.
Why are the Leafs? Yeah. Why are the Leafs like in such a rush to re-sign?
Yeah, I wouldn't be in a rush. I wouldn't be in a rush to sign either of them. Honestly, I wouldn't.
Mitch,
this team needs to and go perform in the playoffs.
I know.
That's why you wait.
Tomorrow, though, if Mitch Marner signed for 8 years at, I don't know, 13.25 million. I'm just blowing a number out there out of my ass.
Yeah.
If he signed tomorrow, some people would be upset, but you would sit there and go, looking at it objectively, which I am because I'm not a Leaf fan, you'd go, that makes sense. He's in his mid-20s. He's a star player. 90-plus points.
He will get that
kills
elsewhere.
Penalties. Yes, he will. As a matter of fact, I think he'd get 14 and a half elsewhere. I really do. So you would sit there and go, that makes sense. Guy in his mid-20s, entering the prime of his career, probably already in the prime of his career, puts up numbers. If they signed Tavares tomorrow to, he's 35, 3 years at 6.5 or 7 million per, I'm sitting there and going, that is an asinine thing to do. I just don't understand that, because my whole thing again, and he's still an effective player, I understand that. But my whole thing when I brought this up originally, Brooksy, was, and this was a guy that I just threw out there because he's going to be a free agent. Why would I give John Tavares, who's going to be 35, 6.5 to 7 million per over 1, 2, 3 years, when a guy like Sam Bennett is going to be a free agent and he's 29?
Well, you use Sam Bennett's name, Ryan. I'd be paying him, 10 million, even though he's probably not worth that number, but for what you're getting out of him. Like, I agree with you. Like, there's better players out there on the market. I think the challenge is for the Leafs is to get over that hump of bringing back the same. And
Brooksy, they can't. If they don't perform in the playoffs, they can't.
Right, without the results. So
they can't. That's why they got to wait, in my mind. You have to.
And conversely, on the other side of the coin, Clarkey, I don't think that anybody sensibly would sit there and be confused or upset if they did wait and it was draft day, and depending on what happens, then they sussed out what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because again,
and if Mitchie doesn't want to come back, then Mitchie can walk.
Yeah, for sure. But like the Tavares thing, like I got people sending me emails and DMs after that show that are just like, that's outrageous. He's the captain of the Leafs and he plays harder than anybody. I'm like, and this notion, I got friends who are like, they owe him to make sure
they don't owe him anything
for the rest of his career. I'm like, what do you mean? They just gave him $77 million and he's not helped them. Again, he's one player, but he's not helped them win anything. So this owing of the, you know who was owed, who you'd sit back and go, oh, they owe? A guy like Anze Kopitar, a guy like Sidney Crosby, who just signed an extension. The Penguins owe him.
You're right.
What the Leafs don't owe John Tavares?
No.
What?
No.
I don't know.
Brooksy,
I don't get it. That's all.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Clark.
I want to talk about a guy who
wanted
to be traded. Well, asked to be traded, had a great training camp, and is Mr.
Never mind.
Invisible again.
Okay.
Nick Robertson. Do you see
I think
anything?
It's over.
Do you see anything in this guy?
Honestly, I think it's I don't want to call it a bad marriage because that's probably the wrong term. But with Berube coming in, the style of player that Robertson needs to be versus the type of player that Craig Berube wants doesn't match. And I agree. I thought he had a wonderful training camp. He earned a spot, an opportunity. Unfortunately, right now for Nick, he's not producing when all these guys are out injured, to have an opportunity to say, hey, what about me? Put me in the lineup. I can earn this.
Yeah.
I think he needs traded. Now, are they waiting because they need bodies back? Obviously.
Well, they might be waiting because no one wants them either. I don't know.
Well, but you probably now, like if the Leafs are going to make a deal, which who knows what's going to happen, he might be a throw-in on a salary cap kind of play to just make it work.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I know it's early, but this Grebenkin guy looks pretty good.
Okay.
He does.
Just a second.
Paycheck.
That's right.
He's got a great sense of humor. He
does, but he's playing hard.
That's what I'll say for him. The effort is unbelievable. His skating, they gotta do some work with that.
But given that, like if you put your best Leaf roster together when healthy, you don't necessarily need a Grebenkin in the lineup either, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's on
for
it
sure.
If everyone,
but if you're going to make a move to add a piece, so. I could throw that back at you. I know it's your show, guys, but I'm going to throw it back at you and say, what piece do you add if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs? Like, what is their biggest need as a team?
Center ice.
Yeah.
Okay. Center ice.
So who do you target?
I mean, the Overdrive guys seem to have this Sidney Crosby pipe dream, but I believe it when I see
Especially if Dubas is not going to trade him here.
Could you imagine? But there are guys out
Naz and
there and there's the number one name that's getting circulated right now.
100%.
Right?
And then I guess that's where I was going with it. But if you bring a Kadri in who plays abrasive, if you're gonna, get through the East, you're gonna have to go through the Panthers. So you need a Sam Bennett combatant.
Yep.
Right. And Naz and Kadri is a little bit of that all day, right? But I'm just saying there's a piece of Nick Robertson maybe going to Calgary who's looking to rebuild, and maybe that's all Nick Robertson needs, guys, is a breath of fresh air.
Exactly.
Fresh start somewhere else that he can turn it over and try again.
Yep.
Yeah, you just never know, right? And like I don't, I think that teams are aware of what he's about and his track record on the way to the NHL. Clarkey, I've seen worse players or players with far less pedigree get traded. So I mean, like it's not.
I know.
It's not an impossibility. Brooksy, quickly, I want to ask you about a situation, and I'm glad you're on because I I immediately equated, much like I did comparing your old buddy Brendan Clayton to Jake McCabe. There's another guy playing in another Canadian market that I would equate to a star player you had that's come under fire a little bit, and that's Brady Tkachuk out in Ottawa. And I'm sure you saw that whole kerfuffle in that Vancouver game recently where he instigated that fight late, and people were calling him out, fans and people in the media, like, does Brady Tkachuk need to calm down? Is he too over emotional on the ice? I personally, like, I love the guy. I think that he is a great leader. He's one of the few bright spots on that team, to be fair. And he reminds me a lot of a guy that you had on those championship squads that had all the skill in the world. You know exactly where I'm going. You know exactly where I'm going. All the skill in the world. He'd piss you off, but he'd shove it right back in your face, and he'd score a huge power play goal that probably ended up being the game winner, and he'd have a couple more points in like 7 penalty minutes. And that's Holden Lansing. And, Brady's a little bigger than him, but Holden was a guy that I doubt very much, Jason, that you ever had to wind Holden up to get ready for a game. You probably more had to rein him in a little bit. But I liked what Travis Green said after, where he said, look, I would rather have a guy that I have to reel back a little bit than somebody that I constantly have to light a fire under. Would you agree with that assessment, kind of comparing your experience with Lanny to this situation with Brady Tkachuk?
Oh, yes, I will agree with you that Holden Lansing and Brady Tkachuk are very similar in what they brought, like what Holden brought to our teams in Listowel and what Brady's doing in Ottawa. Play with their heart in their sleeve, care about the team, care about success, maybe get a little frustrated, and, at times he's acting, I'm not going to say poorly, but just where it, again, gets frowned upon because he's playing with so much emotion and passion. I agree with everything that Travis said. When you have a player like that, like, again, I'm going to reference for Clarkey back to the Leafs. What is the last 7 years of the Leafs? What have we as fans been clamoring for out of a player? Somebody who was skilled, but somebody who played with emotion, that it mattered, that
Wendell Clark
and Brady's a pretty darn good, player to be compared to Wendell, right? Like in the new era. And I mean, the crazy thing, guys, is look what happened with Matthew. He leaves Calgary, where he was a great player, goes down to Florida, and instantly, like, he was one of many good players, I would say, in Calgary in the NHL, but goes to Florida and everybody's like, we need the next Matthew Tkachuk. Ottawa, I hope, sees that and says, I can't lose Brady Tkachuk because he plays on the edge, right? All of a sudden you move that player out because you couldn't reel him in, Brian, to use your words, and he goes off to another team and helps them hoist the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I agree. He would be the least of my, I just like really took umbrage with it, like these people in Ottawa. And I understand that the fan base has a lot to be upset about, trying to see if that team will get their act together. But he would be he wouldn't even be on my list of things to worry about. I was really confused by that mostly media driven narrative, and that's why we pick your brain, Brooksy, because you've been in there.
But that's another reason why would Calgary trade Nazem Kadri right now? They're playing well. They need a guy like that.
I don't know.
Anyway,
the Calgary going on Kadri, the only thing would be what you're getting. Again, if they are looking 100%. To rebuild the thing and can move off a contract like Kadri's to add younger guys that can, join a younger core, they might contemplate that.
Yeah, I think it would. Yeah, Robertson, Mitten.
I'm just saying, like, if I'm Craig Conroy, the first name on my lips, especially because the Leafs would need, for sure, some salary retention there.
Yeah.
If that's in there too, like, the first name off my lips is Easton Cowan. I'm sorry. Like, you want to do business here and we give you our best center.
And what would you do?
I need Easton Cowan.
What would you
Like
say, Ryan?
if I'm the Leafs, honestly, because look, they're in this window. I would
agree.
do the deal.
Yeah. You said the same about Nyes
the
2 years
Leafs-
ago.
Yep. Yeah, I did, and I stand by that. But now Nyes has become such an integral part of the team. But Easton Cowan, guys, I see him all the time. He's a few years away here. And you're in this window where John Tavares is still on the team. Mitch Marner's still on the team. You're in this window where you're aiming for that big thing now.
No doubt. And I'm always a firm believer. And guys, this could be he could be worth the most he's ever going to be in a trade right now.
He very well could.
You never know.
He it
could be another Hayes top 5 worst trades of all time.
And I'm glad you brought that up because we're going to discuss that in the next hour.
That's right.
Brooksy, I'm sure you probably saw that too, that Bryan Hayes put out his top 5 worst Leaf trades of all time. We will be talking about that. Brooksy, I love having you on, man. It's great to get you on and break down what's going right with the Leafs for the most part. Clarkey brought up a couple negatives, okay?
It's okay.
That was mostly Clarkey, but I'm glad that we could have you on to break down what's going so well with them right now, buddy. It's always great to have you on the show. Thanks for doing this, pal.
Thanks, boys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Clarkey teed it up. We got to talk about this list from Overdrive of the top 5 worst Maple Leaf trades of all time. I want Clarkey's opinion. That'll be next here on Instigating. Welcome back to Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. Still lots to talk about, okay? And lots
There's
in
always
Leafland, okay?
lots to talk about.
There's lots to talk about, Clarkey, but listen, one thing that I really want to talk about, because I need your opinion on it.
Okay.
And I'm curious if you have a difference of opinion with some of these. Now, look, we're both big, and I'm sure many of our viewers and listeners are also.
Like, what do you mean big?
We're big Overdrive fans.
Oh, okay.
We love Overdrive. Yeah, hold on.
I
Hold
lost
your
some, I
horses.
lost some weight
It's a
there. What do you
family
mean?
show. It's a family show. All right. Now listen. I don't know
That's not where I was going.
Okay. Well, you never know with you. I don't know. You're an unpredictable guy. Okay. And you know what else is unpredictable over the years? And it's been better recently.
Yeah.
But what's been unpredictable at times is Maple Leaf general managers making trades, and some of them over the last few decades have been pretty bad. I would define some of them as franchise altering. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but O-Dog the other day got into it with Hayes and said, you need to give me a list of the worst Maple Leaf trades of all time.
Oh my gosh.
In his opinion.
Okay.
Producer Adam, you have it. You have the graphic from Overdrive. I would like you to put it up and show Clarkey here. And we're going to go bottom.
Can I guess?
Top.
Okay, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Can I guess of a couple anyway?
Yeah.
Like a couple.
I'll tell you if they're on there. There's 5. He made a top 5.
Okay. So these are bad. Or the good and
trades
bad.
Ever.
Worst trades.
Worst trades ever.
Just
in
the
Leaf
worst
history.
ones.
Yes.
Well, Kordic for Courtnall has to be on there.
Kordic for Courtnall is not in Hayes' top 5.
Okay, fine.
I bet you that'd be a 6.
Tuukka Rask for Raycroft has to be
That's number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2.
That's number 2.
Okay. All right, let's look at the list.
I'm glad you stopped me. Oh, you want to just see the list?
Well, yeah.
You don't want no more guesses?
Just trying to think. Like, they traded some they traded some draft picks for nobodies that turned out to be Scott Stevens, like that kind of thing.
Well, no. So I know the trade you're referencing.
Yeah.
And that's number 1.
Yeah.
Put up.
Yeah.
And because you basically pointed out number 1, it's actually Scott
that was
Niedermayer.
Scott Niedermayer. Sorry, yes. That was Jerry McNamara, I'm pretty sure.
So here we go. There is your top 5.
Curvers. I remember 1. I was at the Gardens that day. I was there that day.
I've heard you tell this story. Yes.
What year was that? Do we have the date of that?
So that trade was in 1990, I believe.
I remember.
The Leafs got Tom Curvers from the Devils in exchange for the Leafs 1991 first-round pick, which I believe ended up being 4th overall, and the Devils selected some guy named Scott Niedermayer. God, that one hurts. And it's unfortunate because Tommy Curvers, good player.
No,
but he just wasn't Scott Stevens, perennial Hall of Famer.
And the worst part, though, is they were like a terrible hockey team, and they were just trying. Yeah, they were just trying to not finish last.
Yeah,
like you know, like.
And it turns into Scott's.
And I'm sure that was Jerry McNamara, who was the GM. And I was working, as I said, I was working for the Fan radio, operating the games. And I'll never forget, I went to the rink that Saturday. I'm sure it rings a bell. It was a Saturday night. And I got to the rink and we heard about this Tom Curvers deal. Oh, Tom Curvers. Wow, great. Who'd they give up? Oh, draft pick. Oh, okay, good. Okay, let's go. And wow, what a disaster. I agree with that one.
It's one of those ones that was a bit of a slow burn in the sense that, like, of course, you don't know who that pick's going to turn into.
No, you don't.
But within about 2 years, it looked very bad.
Yeah. And Tom Curvers, like, with all due respect, they should never, ever, ever have given up a first-round pick for Tom Curvers.
I agree.
That's like giving up a first-round pick for, like, Rasmus Sandin.
Rasmus Sandin. Don't do that, dude, because Rasmus Sandin is really
he's
good.
Not that good. He's not that
He's
good.
been unbelievable. Anyway, well, your team drafted him in the first round.
Yeah, and smartened up and got rid of him. Anyway.
Yeah, and he's playing amazing for the way better Washington Capitals. Anyway, number 2, you nailed it. I don't need to do that. We're not doing that. We're doing this.
Tuukka Rask for Andrew Raycroft. When I was working for Leafs TV at that point.
Which, slow burn.
I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, but the stories we heard, and I think you know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to throw him under the bus. They went to this individual who we've had on this show. He's a friend of the show. He's been on at least twice. They went to this individual and said, he was the goalie coach. And they said, and I don't know if this is true. Maybe we should ask him one day. They said to him, okay, Boston is going to trade Raycroft coming off the Calder trophy.
Yes.
They want one of our guys, Rask or Pogge. Which one should we trade? Which one should we hold on to? Pogge. Hold on to Pogge. Big goalie. It's going to be a star. Whoops.
Yeah. Again, a slow burn.
I don't know if it's true or not, Ryan. I don't know. It's a great story.
And we'll confer. Yeah. But that one, again, a slow burn because Rask was a little more unknown because back then scouting and certainly video that was available to fans was not what it is now. So people just kind of thought, oh, this Rask guy, we've heard he's pretty good, but we're getting Andrew Raycroft and we have Justin Pogge, who was a stud at the World Juniors.
Right.
Amazing. Our goalie depth looks unbelievable. And Andrew Raycroft, to his credit,
as I said, he just came off the Calder
trophy.
Yeah.
He comes in and does he still have the franchise record for most wins in a season? Or did Freddie Anderson?
Freddie might have. Yeah.
Did Freddie Anderson pass him?
Maybe.
We should confer. Producer Adam, look that up. Who has the record?
Leafs record for most wins in a regular season
in a single season? Because Raycroft did hold it for a very long time and may
he
still.
Did. But that doesn't mean
37.
That would just means the team was good.
No, yeah, for sure. Well, the team wasn't good though. That's just
wait a minute. That year, I think didn't they make the conference final that first year they had him?
No. This trade happened after the lockout. We're talking like the 05-06 Leafs.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Sorry. Okay.
So now, either way, he held that record, may still. Believe it was 37 wins. Yeah. But Tuukka Rask goes on, ends up on a cup winner. He wasn't the starter, mind you. Went to another cup final. Like he became a superstar. So tough one.
Yeah. Okay. What was 3?
Wendell. Really quick.
Go ahead.
Anderson has 38 goaltender wins in a single season in 2017-2018 for the Leafs.
He passed him. I do recall that, producer Adam, on the ball yet again. Number 3, the Leafs get back after he left for a while.
Yeah.
Wendell Clark,
Yeah.
Matthew Schneider, and DJ Smith for a first-round pick that turned into Roberto Luongo, Sean Haggerty, Kenny Johnson, who was a good offensive defenseman for a while, and Darby Hendrickson. Now, Luongo is the one that really hurts. If it makes you feel any better, Leaf fans, Mike Milbury took that draft pick that was Roberto Luongo and sent him off for next to nothing. So that happened. But yeah, that's a tough one too. Another Hall of Fame goaltender that the Leafs just missed out on. Mm-hmm. We moved to number 4. Now we're getting into some recency here where I remember seeing this trade, and I'll give myself a little credit, and I'm sure others felt the way, that we all do now. I remember when the Leafs made this Phil Kessel trade, and I said, this is going to be awful for the Maple Leafs. The Leafs get Phil Kessel. This is number 4 on Hayes' worst trade list of all time for the Leafs. The Leafs get Kessel in exchange for a 2010 first-round pick that turned into Tyler Seguin, a 2010 second-rounder that turned into Jared Knight, who was a bit of a suitcase up and down, good junior player, and the next year's first-round pick in 2011, which turned into Dougie Hamilton. Phil Kessel,
and that's not saying the Leafs would have traded or drafted those guys, but they could have.
They could have, and you know what?
It was a disaster. When it happened, I knew it was terrible. I didn't like it. The second it happened, that trade. That was Burke. That was Brian Burke.
Yeah, Burke was trying to make an immediate impact and thought that the roster was way better than they were, and they weren't.
Okay.
And Phil Kessel, to his credit, obviously was a very good Leaf. Like, he scored a lot. He scored automatic 30-goal score. Automatic. And then went on and won his cups in Pittsburgh. But to lose out on, and I watched Tyler Seguin in junior, and I remember back then it was Taylor versus Tyler. Hall went first, yep. Seguin went second.
I was at the draft. LA, I want to say. I
still feel this way, and people might call me crazy. Hall's a Hart winner. No, I still would have taken Seguin first overall over Taylor Hall. I still feel that way now.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But then to also compound it with Dougie Hamilton. Oh, could you imagine Dougie Hamilton? And who knows if it would have worked out this way anyway, but could you imagine Dougie Hamilton and Morgan Riley as your top D pair? Oh, Lord, that's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Every team has a lot of bad trades. Like,
no question. But I saw this list, watched it live.
That's a great discussion.
And I want your thought, dude. You want to go down the list of ERAT?
As I said, every team has lots of bad trades.
Quick sidebar. Let's bag on my guys a little bit. And George McPhee's a brilliant general manager, cup winner. He's a great GM. I was in the mall with my friend in college when the Martin ERAT for Philip Forsberg trade went down. I had to go to a garbage can. I almost threw up. I was in the food court at the mall, and I had to park myself next to a garbage can. I swear to God, I almost threw up. I was sick to my stomach. Still sick. We won a cup. It doesn't matter. Number 5. And this is another recent one, and I'm curious about your thoughts on this, because this was a hot one at the time. Everyone was in support of this, or at least a large, loud majority were. Yeah. Kerfoot and Barrie, and keep in mind, Tyson Barrie was the key in this deal because he was a really good offensive defenseman. We're talking 60, 70-point guy for Kadri going the other way. Now, this one is number 5 because of the way it ended up working out later. But Kadri, he went to producer Adam's Avs and got suspended immediately in the playoffs there, too.
Yeah.
For taking off. Whose head did he take off in St. Louis? I think it was... No, it wasn't the goalie. He hit a defenseman coming down the middle and took his chin off. I want to say it was Robert Bertuzzo. But it didn't matter because 2 years later, he won the Stanley Cup. What do you think of that one, Clarkey? Would you swap that one out since it's number 5? Is there a Leaf trade that you swap
I think Courtnall for Kordic was worse than that.
Courtnall for Kordic.
That was a terrible deal.
it was a terrible deal the second it happened. Not like some of these that were like slow burns. That was a bad one immediately.
Gord Stellick was the GM and got pressured in by his
and we love
coach,
Gord.
John Brophy. Brophy said, I need some toughness on this team. And it was but like to get a guy like John Kordick, who everyone seemed to know had a lot of issues going on.
And he was a feared guy, like physical.
He was a feared guy for sure, like, but he was a head case, unfortunately. And had issues. And
Courtnall, I mean, like, what a player.
Did he score 50 goals?
So, So, like, that one's tough. And Gord, like, couldn't, another friend of the show, we should have him on again soon, couldn't really be, faulted for that. Because I actually heard a rumor, I don't know how true this is, you'd know better, Clark, you were in the scene, you were very involved, obviously with the fan at the time, and would have heard probably. There was a rumor that John Brophy threatened to quit on the spot if that trade didn't go through.
I never heard that for sure. Okay. That's news to me.
What I'm saying is I'm trying to kind of pad
to me
a little bit.
I get it. I would be inclined to say, see you later. Like, he wasn't winning. Like, John Brophy wasn't a winner. Like, he had some great battles with Jacques Demers in Detroit. Like, those battles between the Leafs and the Red Wings back then were pretty heated, but I don't know.
Well, they were both so frustrated with how bad they were.
Yeah.
That we're talking Dead
for
Wings.
For sure.
We're talking Dead Wings era back then, man.
But it was it was the Ballard era, right? So everything was wacko in that with that franchise at that time. But I think there's probably, I haven't obviously had any time to look into it, but there's probably some other bad trades. But the Kadri was going to go to Calgary, but he wouldn't okay the deal. And how ironic it is now that he signed there. But I don't know, like Kerfoot's Kerfoot. Like, he's not a great player for sure.
Solid, reliable third line player.
Yeah.
And that's what
kill
he
penalty.
was.
Yeah, exactly. And then
he was no better. He was no worse.
And they wanted TJ Brody. Like, TJ Brody was the guy they wanted. And then it turned out they got Brody anyway when Tyson Barrie, I think they let him walk, right? They let Barrie
let him walk. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, so
injured and never really got his feet back under him.
But you know what?
But was a good player. Like, he was a good player when the Leafs acquired him.
Discussion. I love the discussion. Well, why don't we take a break and come back with our potatoes?
100%. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, as Clarkey said. He needs to catch his breath after going over that painful list. I'm sorry I did that to you, but I genuinely wanted your thoughts on it. All right.
No, it's fun. It's always fun talking Leafs.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Couch Potatoes of the Week next. Back to wrap things up here on a very fun week of Instagame with Clarkey and Drew.
It's always fun
to have our buddy Jason Brooks on, Brooksy, just get the coach's eye on things. It was great. And one thing that we always have our eye on, Clarkey, I mean, at least I do most of the time, is who I'm going to consider for my couch potato.
So do I.
Can I go first this week? Because
No, I got to go first.
Really? You have to go first?
I have to go first.
Okay,
I have to go first. I'm sorry, but my name is first. I got to go first.
Okay. Jesus, my name's first.
So here's the deal. Okay, I don't like throwing people under the bus.
Okay.
Producer Adam, come on for a minute, will you?
Oh, you want me to come on? Okay.
Yeah, turn your camera on there for a second.
Sure. Hold
Ryan,
on a sec. Go ahead.
I'm nervous. What's happening?
Ryan, you know who you're looking at there?
That's producer Adam.
My couch potato.
Why? What are you doing? Don't bite the hand that
Adam
feeds.
is always trying to help.
I am.
Yeah.
He's always trying to help.
Especially Clarkey, because, couch potatoes, they get a little late, like 5 minutes before the show. This is what the couch potato is.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. But he suggested a couch potato this week to me.
I did.
And I just said, I can't. I cannot do this. It's just not fair to Ryan that I do this, that I make this guy my couch potato. Show him. Let's pull up the text you sent me.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Let's show the text.
This is late night text.
This guy,
last night.
and I'm kind of worried maybe you're going to go down this track. That's why I'm going first. But is it coming?
Yeah, it's right here. I got it up. Sorry. It's a late night text from 10:19 p.m. And I said to Clarkey, couch potato for Thursday evening's recording? ? Smiley winky face. Gotta see
Charles
it. Charlie
Lindgren.
Lindgren tries to clear the puck, scores own goal instead.
And I said, Adam, I can't do that. I can't
Guys,
do that.
I
can't do that to Ryan. The guy scored in his own net. Like it was. I said I can't do that. So I just left it alone, and I've decided. Hey, and again, couch potatoes aren't always bad. And producer
not.
Adam is a good couch potato this week for trying to help me out. And I love when he's trying to throw you under the bus because there was a little winky face there.
Okay,
I was like,
he was trying to throw you under the bus.
What I thought was happening here, where your logic was, and pardon me for thinking we were friends, was that you were making producer Adam a bad couch potato for trying to incite my negative emotions about what occurred with my friend Chuck Lindgren. Listen.
Anyway, Adam, you're a good potato.
Oh, thank you.
This makes me even more sick to my stomach because Charlie Lindgren is my couch.
Oh, no.
And listen, hold on. Because I'm going to surprise you now. You think that this couch potato is going a certain way.
Oh, I know it's going to be definitely a positive spin. You won't do anything negative about your caps. I know that.
Maybe you know me a little better than I think you do then. Maybe we are friends. Because listen, I know that you know that I know that you were picturing my face when that puck went in.
Yeah.
And you could see visually in your mind.
I wish I was watching the game. I wasn't watching the game.
Dude, I swear to God, I looked at Kate and I was like, you might need to call a heavy equipment operator to get a crane in here to pick my jaw up off the
and I
floor.
believe it. I believe it.
Because producer Adam, roll the clip. It's
if you haven't seen this
clip.
Oh,
this
my goodness.
Is Charlie Lindgren. Oh, God. It's an incredible clip. Like, you would show this to somebody and you'd have to explain to them.
He had to not know where he was.
I think the worst part is most goalie goals like this, it's like a bad bounce or a puck came off the corner on an odd angle.
And a guy takes it. Yeah. Yes. A guy takes it from them.
Exactly.
The Vesatoskala goal back in the day.
And look at Kucherov. Kucherov's celebrating like he just got a hat trick. Watch him, bottom left. Watch him.
Well, I'll tell you what, he is celebrating a hat trick because that goal was Braden Point's hat trick goal.
Oh my gosh.
He was really a hat trick.
Clarkey, I had no idea.
I didn't either.
Charlie Lindgren loses his net completely and he's trying to spin and rim the puck away from the oncoming forecheck, and it just could not go worse. It's the worst own goal in sports history. I'm dead serious.
Oh, this will be a clip for the ages.
This will live forever.
No doubt.
Which is unfortunate, but it will. Vesatoskala.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
One, it's right up there with
at least Toskala was a shot that bounced bad.
My buddy Rob Davison, assistant coach of the Guelph Storm. I see him all the time, and I always bring that up to him.
There you go.
Look, what I'm gonna say though, because this is very bad, and I was hurting for my buddy Chuck, because without him, to be perfectly honest, the Caps don't get into the playoffs last year. They had the worst goal differential I think of all time of a playoff team. And he's the reason why.
There you go.
Now let me be a homer here.
Yeah.
Because I've crapped on my guy. Let me flip it around. Charlie Lindgren is my couch potato because he scored that blatant own goal in the worst fashion I've ever seen in pro sports. And most guys of lesser mental acumen, myself included, would fold up mentally like a lawn chair if that happened. But what did Charlie Lindgren do? Right after he did that, He made a big save on Nikita Kucherov. The Caps tied the game. Then they scored to take a 5-4 lead on a Tom Wilson peeper snipe. Hello. And then, and then they had to pull Andrei Vasilevsky. He made a huge one-timer save on Kucherov and then an in-tight stop on Anthony Cirelli. And the Capitals won. Thank you very much. By the way, that was on the Mentors trip. So Charlie Lindgren's dad watched him do that.
No.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But
they won the game, Ryan. It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. And Charlie Lindgren is my couch potato because he bounced back from just an abhorrent situation.
Yep.
And a co-couch potato, his teammate Jacob Chikrin, who gave him the game chain after the game.
Yeah.
That's a supportive teammate. I love that from Chicky, and I love my guy Charlie Lindgren for bouncing back after Clarkey, you're a goalie. You ever do anything like that?
I never shot it in my own net. I've made some stupid plays where I've, it's bounced off me or whatever. And I've come close to shooting it in my own net, but no, I've never done it.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, his kids are going to watch that forever. It will be shared at many family gatherings,
for sure.
Thinks.
Do you want to see Ryan's emotions go from 0 to elation? Here it is. Here's his tweet. I'm not joking. This is the worst goal against in history of sport. Not the NHL, not hockey, not North American sport. Sport. That was during the game, right? 9:53 p.m. and then here it is later. Gun show. So, redeems himself.
I shared the Russian Machine. By the way, Russian Machine never breaks.
Great
website.
The
best fan. They're the best fan-run website in sports. It's not even close. Ian Oland and all those guys over there. Shout out to Russian Machine. Yeah, that's the wild swing of emotions that sports bring us, right? And that's why we do this. That's why we do this show. That's why you watch. And by the way,
by the way, too, before you start, Old Man Winter might be my couch potato next week because I heard Snowmageddon is coming.
75 centimeters.
And you know who's right in the worst part? Our producer, Adam Hanover.
Yeah.
Supposed to get walloped.
Up to 100.
100 to 100.
Effect.
Yeah.
Lake.
My area,
effect.
less than 10. Sorry, fellas.
You're against the lake. All right. Like I said, moments like that with Chuck Lindgren are why we watch sports and why you watch this show. And you can watch this show Friday nights at 8, Sunday nights at 9 with our friends on Whiteman TV. Channel 6 for Whiteman subscribers. We debut on our YouTube channel if you prefer to watch us there, Friday nights at 9. You can follow us on social media at InstigatingPod, where you can find all the great clips that we share from the show. And you can find the podcast version on all your favorite podcast apps. That's it from us this week. Producer Adam, great job. Clarkey, the
positive couch potatoes.
Very
Producer
good
Adam.
stuff.
Adam, is that the first time you've been named a couch potato?
I think so.
There you go.
Which seems unreal because producer Adam makes all this happen. He deserves
he's the wizard behind the curtain.
He deserves, and every now and again he pops out from behind the curtain, and we get a look, and he comes through with great content.
He does.
To rile one of the two.
Much appreciated producer.
Absolutely.
Best sports TV producer in Hanover.
Oh,
yes,
by far.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
Can we give him Southern Ontario?
Sure.
Good God, man.
Sure.
You're my couch potato now. Negative.
No.
Unbelievable. No. All right. We'll be back next week with more Instigating.